How's it going, everybody? My name is Surgebin. You can call me Surge. But if you do, I probably won't respond since this is recording. Uh, just kind of letting you know. Anyway, today we're going to be covering the patch 2.3 for Predecessor. It came out on the 11th. They made some changes, nothing too drastic as far as I can tell. Um, so let's jump right into that. We got Countess up here first. So they were mainly focused on giving her a small stat adjustments, tweaking her late game durability, which I don't know if you've played the game. It seems like she wrecks pretty hard in the right hands. So they're playing with that. So all they did was they changed base health increased from 550 to 560. Small tweaks. That's a lot of what these are. Her health growth is decreased from 110 to 105. Another tiny decrease there. And her movement speed has been dropped down from 685 to 680. She really doesn't have. Not much has really changed. You'll notice if you play her enough, some of this stuff, but it's nothing too game breaking. And then they decreased her Q, her Shadow Slip, where she jumps forward and then she can be recalled. The recall duration has been decreased from 4 seconds to 3.5 seconds. So small things here and there. I mean, that's kind of nice because I tend to lose a lot of countesses when we're fighting. Decker, real small change here. They changed her base, or they increased her base power from 50 to 54. Another small increase. That's what a lot of this is so far. Drongo, shrapnel cannon, his ult. They did a bug fix. Now correctly states that the CC immunity is in the description. So that's something for you to you'll be able to see it when you're looking at what it does. All right, Gadget's another one that's getting some attention. They specifically nerfed her sticky mine ability slightly. So with the sticky mine, her Q, the scaling has increased from 65% to 70%. It could mean a lot to those that play her, and I played her I think just the other night for the first time, and it was okay. I'm not the greatest with her anyway, so her cooldowns have increased though. That was kind of a bigger problem that a lot of people had, was that her cooldowns were really quick. She's able to keep firing those things off. So the cooldowns have went from 8, 7, 7.5, 7, 6.5, 6 to 10, 9.5, 9, 8.5, 8. Now this is probably the biggest change. That's a lot of cooldown. So going from where the new change ends, when it's all the way maxed out, is where it used to start at. So that's going to be a big change for her. Her root duration has also decreased from 1.25 seconds down to 1 second. Let's see here. We got Grux. Grux has been naturally dominant and off lane, and few heroes have been able to meet his overwhelming aggression. So what they did was they decreased his base health from 620 to 600. Not gigantic, but every point counts when you're in those fights. And the base physical armor is decreased from 36 to 32. Now that's a little smaller, but again, it matters when you're in the middle of those fights and you're like, oh no, I'm about to die. Howitzer is another one that I haven't really had too much hands-on time with, but his landmine ability has been subject to some tweaks and improvements this week during the update here. We've lowered the distance the enemy mine can knock you back, and I do believe, let's see here, and in tandem they've also increased the self-inflicted knockback distance that comes from using the ability. So if you need to create distance between you and an enemy, say they're chasing you or something like that, and you throw it in front of you and get to the other side of it, it can launch you guys both different directions. Now it kind of balances out. The enemy doesn't get thrown back as far, so that kind of sucks when you're in lane and trying to keep them pushed back. But you can use it on yourself to create distance on them, which gives you more. So if you're using it to create a big distance while they're chasing you, it kind of balances itself out. So the knockback distance on enemy targets has decreased by 20, but the knockback distance on self has increased by 20%. So there is an actual balancing there if you're using it in that probably singular application, but it helps you get away if you need to, but it can also create some distance. Kalari, she got some changes here. So the item power spike has been pretty substantial compared to many other heroes, which has led to a few changes that they hope will better balance her in the field. So what they did for her death mark, base damage has increased from 40, 65, 90, 115, 140 to 40, 70, 100, 130, 160. So that's a pretty big increase. The scaling is decreased from 25 to 18%. And then her alt R base damage has been decreased. It was like 10, 20, and 30 per level. Chimera just got a little bug fix for his spirit regeneration, his passive there. In-game description now correctly states that the duration is 2.5 seconds instead of 3, so they're just a little wording is all they fixed on him. So he actually had no changes. Narbash, I've not played him, but I've played against him. So his late game healing is going to go up. So late game, he is going to be a significantly better healer. I think this change will help his ability to support his allies. So yeah, his ability to help heal everybody in the team is going to be increased from 5% to 10%. So that makes him significantly better late game during team fights. Got Sevarog. Sevarog's really struggled to survive in early game due to low durability. So they addressed this by increasing his base health from 605 to 615. And then his Siphon, his Q, the minion healing has increased from 10 to 15%. So that kind of helps you keep going early game. So he got some good buffs there. Steel, everyone's favorite big orange cyborg, continues to be a strong offlaner thanks to his ability to comfortably scale into team fights. So, they changed his mana costs. Of course, they, in the update here on their website, they didn't actually lay this one all the way out for you. So, it looks like they upped his mana cost, or they just changed it flat across the board. So, I'm going to have to probably add something in the comments here once I can figure out a little more on this one, because it does the way this reads is that it goes from 60, 65, 70, 75, 80 to flat 75 for all of his Q. All right, so then we got down here the items crest, and I'm sorry, the rogue crest, and they are increasing the power on that from 6 to 8. So these are the small item tweaks that are going to be happening here. Physical power is going to be increased for the Assassin's Crest from 10 to 12. So again, not big changes happening here, nothing game breaking, but they're doing tweaks. I think they they believe they're in a comfortable spot to where they just have to, turn the small knobs instead of trying to keep everything up and going, or to get as big of a change, because that could really mess up things for the rest of the game if they're making too big of changes. So we got Tempest, first one with a little more information on it here. As part of their efforts to combat many of the tank mage builds that have been cropping up, they tweaked the damage numbers on the Tempest. So the base damage has been decreased from 30 to 20, which can be kind of huge, and scaling has increased from 10 to 14. So hopefully that's a bit better of a balance there. All right, Lockshaw is our next one here. Lockshaw is getting reworked to fit a larger changes to the Leviathan item, which you will find further down the page. So they're changing the build trees for a couple of these, and Lockshaw is going to be integrated in it. So they had to do some adjustments on this one to make it fit nicely into that tree. So the cost is being decreased from 1,300 to 950. That's pretty nice. The health is going to be decreased from 200 to 150 that you gain. Health regeneration is completely removed because now it's a T2 item. and they've added 15 magical armor to kind of replace that health regen. The passive that they reworked, well, they have a new passive. It's Blighted Veil, and receiving magical damage reduces the source's healing by 20% for 3 seconds. So that's kind of awesome. So that's somebody like Chimera not being able to, they're going to decrease his ability to heal back as he's hitting you. And then they changed the recipe for getting this. It was Vitality Crystal and Life Stream. Now it's just Vitality Crystal and Wraps. So tier 3 items. So Astral Catalyst. So what they did was they updated the Ravenous portion of the passive. The ultimate CDR on takedown is decreased from 25 to 20%. Not an item I've used too much so far, but I'm learning. Let's see. Augmentation. I did not really see this one coming, but here we are. They've adjusted the augmentation stats to slightly help it stand out from other items, giving it more unique identity, and hopefully paving the way for it to work into more unique builds. The physical power has decreased from 30 to 20, and the attack speed has increased from 30 to 40. So a little bit of a balancing act there. We got Demolisher on deck next. This is used to jump in and hit hard with that first hit. And so what they did was they adjusted First Strike's passive. The additional damage has decreased from 50% to 35%. That's a big hit. Because when you had a lot of crits stacked up, you could, triple the damage you were doing with this thing. So they really kind of raked that one in. That was a really powerful item. Dust Devil, they've given it a nice quality of life buff. Better emphasize the more fun perks the item has, being the movement speed and attack speed. So what they did was, through the attack speed, the Menace passive on it, they've increased from 2% per stack to 3% per stack, and movement speed has increased from 10 to 15%. Legacy, it's a shield item. Up to this point, you lost 10 physical power from completing Legacy, so today we've given it the correct amount of physical power while adjusting its haste to compensate. This item was already very potent in second and third option, so it should be this should hopefully help it fall in line with more of a niche tech option. So what they did, as they stated in the little blurb there, was physical power has increased from 30 to 40, and the ability haste has decreased from 20 to 10. So another kind of like give and take kind of a deal there. The Leviathan. So they've done quite a bit on this one. From a design standpoint, it's been problematic thanks to the potential for mage abuse and its positioning as a must-have item as haste capstone for tanks. To complete this, we're shifting identity to new, much-needed anti-heal magic armor item. This provides the new option for tanks who need solutions to help them counter heroes like Countess, as well as upcoming sustained-based magical damage heroes they'll be adding in the future. So they're already looking towards future heroes that are coming out and how they're going to be used by making the adjustments on Leviathan. So you can expect a rebrand or rename for this item in the next patch to help it stay on theme with other anti-heal options. So their Leviathan is going to have more done to it. They're just kind of making a tweak now, but as new heroes come out, they are going to have to change that up a bit more. So the cost has decreased from 3,000 to 2,850. Health decreased from 400 to 350. Health regeneration decreased from 225% to 150%. That's pretty big. And they've added 30 magical armor. So the passives that have been reworked, being Blighted Veil, you're receiving magical damage, sustains the source's healing, or reduces the source's healing by 40% for 3 seconds. And Colossus, the other a new passive that they've added, is you gain 5% damage mitigation, doubled versus targets affected by blight. So if the enemy has already been blighted, you gain another 5% or 5% mitigation is doubled. Versus, okay, so you gain 5% mitigation, and then if the enemy is blighted, you get that doubled into 10%. And then part of the recipe for building this, they've added wraps. So that's another thing to purchase in the tree to be able to get that. Malady is the next one here. Combined with other compounding effects, Malady has been one of the biggest factors behind Kallari's recent dominance. Increasing this item's cost will hopefully alleviate it a bit. So they bumped it up by 100 gold to be able to purchase this one, hoping that will cut back on everybody using it to make Kallari so powerful. Gotta say, I didn't see Mutilator in the list originally when I was looking at it on Twitter or Facebook, and then I was really sad to see it in here because they messing with my stuff. Mutilator's anti-tank identity and overall stat line has made it feel like a must-buy for many characters. We're hoping today's nerf will open up more build paths and more diversity for other bruisers. So they're trying to make this not be the main item that a lot of people are buying for power. So the Mutilate passive, they've decreased the damage on it from 1.25 of the target's maximum health to 1% of the target's maximum health. And then the Devour passive, maximum health steal has decreased from 8% to 5%. So that they definitely knocked down its ability to be as strong as it once was. Nightfall. This change is actually more of a bug fix in disguise, is what they're claiming here. As previously, you were losing stats for completing this item. So your build tree would actually make you more powerful before you bought it, and then you would buy that and you would lose some stuff. So Nightfall is now a brand new recipe, and they've lowered its cost a bit to make it more to make it easier to buy. So the total cost has decreased by 100 coins, and the build has changed. So it used to be Honed Chris and Crimson Edge and Saber, and now it's just Honed Chris and Bloodlust. Remnant of Renewal. I've started using this one. I've really liked it a lot. And here we go. We got a buff on it. They've increased increased healing. Never mind. It's not a buff. I'm sorry. I misread. They increased healing has been decreased from 20% to 15%. All right. So they nerfed it. My apologies. The wording on that. The increased healing has decreased. Okay, yeah. Say that one 10 times fast, huh? And if you did, let me know in the comments, okay? I want to see how many people did that. Tainted Guard. So I've noticed, too, going through this list, 3 of the 5 tainted items that are available in-game all had something done to them. 3 out of 5 of them. That's quite a bit of the tainted items. So for the Tainted Guard, it's been a subject of some of the big nerfs, along with tank itemization. And now, with the changes to Leviathan, we're looking at to slot in an ability haste to allow tank builds to offset the overall haste loss. So the ability haste is increased from 10 to 15 with the Tainted Guard. So that one did get a buff. Tainted Rounds. On hit focused builds haven't seen as much play as we've wanted. So today we've adjusted Tainted Rounds to try and make it more appealing for people to buy and try it out. The attack speed is increased from 30 to 35. Small jump. Hopefully that kind of gets used a little more is what they're shooting for. It'd be cool to see it. I haven't seen it in too many builds. Tainted Totem. This change is directly targeting the abuse caused from the non-support characters. That's right, Crunch, Rampage, and Countess. They are picking up this totem and they're using it. So the Nirvana no longer applies to the tainted totem holder. So what that was is what it did was when you have it, the Nirvana, what it would do is heal ally heroes and give them a shield to everyone who was around you. Well, before that, it was also doing it to the holder. So now, if I have that equipped on my hero, I no longer get the healing and the shield for it, just everybody around me. That's what they changed there. Tectonic Mallet. So I had to do a little research on this one too, because I didn't understand part of the bug fix in this. So Tectonic Mallet had a major bug that meant it was almost a deficient, or it was almost deficient to pick it up. They fixed it, making the mallet more powerful, item for bruisers, and synergizes well with synergy. It's a fun word to say. What can I say? It synergizes well with items like augmentation and void helm. Bug fix. The description now clearly states that Tectonic Mallet grants 5% additional movement speed, and magical armor has been decreased from 40 to 30%, and the magnitude passive has a bug fix. No longer factors in the combat penalty for bonus power. So I didn't know what that meant. I had to go like ask a bunch of people, kind of jumped into different Twitch streams and stuff like that to figure out what did that mean. I didn't even know there was a penalty for bonus power. Best I got out of it was that if you're moving slow or standing still in a fight, you don't gain the extra bonus power. So slower speed, lower power. If you're moving around and chasing and stuff like that, you gain a bonus power for being active and actually moving instead of standing still. And that's while you're in combat, you know. So it's no longer going to do that. And if I have that correct, or if I'm wrong, let me know down in the comments so that way I can actually be correct when I talk about this stuff. I got a lot of learning to do, but I'm gonna keep chugging away at this here. Terminus got a bug fix here on its passive, for it's a non-passive. They fixed a bug that the shield could be stacked infinitely. If that was the case, I should have been using that a lot sooner before they decided to take away the infinite stacks on that. That's wild. That's why everybody was like all about Terminus there for a long time. Now, I don't know what caused that bug. Like if you had to have certain things, certain items already before that bug, took play. But somebody was out there stacking infinite shield and just never getting killed. True Silver Bracelet is another change targeting the mage tank builds that have been cropping up. We love for this to remain a simple pickup for Narbash or Gideon, so these changes are there to help position this item as a less enticing first buy for characters like Gadget. So they decrease the health has been decreased from 250 to 200. And then finally, we have Void Helm. They have did some nice quality of life improvements to the Void Helm. Keep in mind the movement speed has diminishing returns. So generally, while it's nice, we're mindful of and will be monitoring the movement speed creep. So they're going to keep an eye on it as it goes. The movement speed has been increased from 10% to 15%. So there's a lot of information there. I'm going to link this in the comments down below so that way you guys can also read it and be like, hey, that guy was kind of a jackass when he was reading all this stuff and made it all complicated. That's a good possibility. I may have done that. I'm not really I'm not really sure if I communicated all of this well, but if I did, let me know. And if I didn't, let me know. I'm cool with all of it. It only helps me get better at this. So thank you for stopping by. Thank you for watching the videos. If you liked what I got and you want to see more of it, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you want to come hang out with me while I'm streaming over on Twitch, just search me up at Surgeman. I'll also leave a link below for that. Thanks for coming by and thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys next week.